As I continue on discussion about the role that music has played in terms of veneration around the world, that comes next to the Norse mythology or the Germanic. This would be a very well documented pantheon of deities and what their deeds were. And most importantly, is in the music realm at least, was Bragi. And he is a wise and learned bard of Valhalla, which was, of course, the hall of Odin, who was the Allfather. This was, again, the head of the Norse pantheon, the height of their power. And Bragi is known for his poetry. It was frequently featuring him as regaling the citizens of Asgard and also playing a role with the deceased that I'll talk about in a bit. Now, one of the epic poems that describes him says that he had runes carved into his tongue, which obviously is a very important indicator of the magic, the power of his tongue, the power of his words. And he was originally depicted in the myth as a 9th century bard who was Bragi Boda's son. His poems were so artful and moving that it was believed that Odin appointed him to the court of Valhalla after his death, essentially giving him the role of a god. He is described not only as being very wise, but also very creative with words, whether he's using them to sing or for reciting. And in other Norse mythology, in addition to being revered for his wisdom, he's also revered for his eloquence, his ability to compose and recite, and his knowledge of poetry. He's also seen as a god of ceremony and the god of bards. For this culture, the association between music and poetry is derived from that of a true artist, being skilled in the art of sounds, and had a mastery over the secrets of eloquence as well. Now, we know that in Norse mythology, he is said to have had the most beautiful singing voices, and his musical talent was second to none, especially when it came to playing a harp. He received the divine task of welcoming and entertaining the warriors into Valhalla. Again, this was the great hall of Odin, where all the soldiers who died in battle, they were highly revered, and they were greeted or soothed by his poetry and his music. And they said his vocals were so charming and delightful that all the beings around him were instantly trapped in a desire to keep his voice and save it for themselves. And there's many stories about people attempting to trap the voice of Bragi. But again, we see in a different way the power of the spoken word. In a lot of ways, I see the association with his tongue, but also that of music. Again, he is primarily that figure. Music and poetry, the spoken word, kind of flowing together. So this is the Norse addition to the topic of music gods, and we'll continue on with the West African or Yoruba mythologies about gods of music.